Well, violence continued through the night in Egypt as protesters once again defied curfews. Rocks, bottles and firebombs were thrown. Automatic gunfire heard as opposition demonstrators clashed with supporters of President Mubarak. State TV says 3 people are dead, 600 injured, though some of the images that we've been seeing suggest that that toll will rise. Egyptian soldiers have so far kept out of the violence, only intervening to use their water cannons to put out fires. In Washington, President Obama urged Mubarak to start handing over power immediately rather than wait until September. U.S. Senator Patrick Leahy chairs the U.S. panel that oversees foreign aid. He says there'll be no more cash for Egypt until Mubarak steps down.
He should leave and allow, before the violence gets even more out of hand, allow a transitional government to try to put the pieces back together. The United States will work with them and it will help them, but we're not going to help the current regime.
Well, the White House has stopped short of blaming the Egyptian government for starting the violence, but local reports suggest that pro-government protesters instigated the clashes. Here you can see Mubarak supporters mounting on camels and horses, wielding machetes, charging into crowds of demonstrators. State TV blamed the Muslim Brotherhood opposition and Hamas. Well, these are the latest pictures you're seeing here coming from Cairo's main Tahrir Square. Our reporter Larissa Trakian is there. She's confined to a hotel room. But pitched battles have been raging in the streets. We can now see the numbers, more and more people congregating in the square. And interestingly, protesters, I suppose this is nothing new, but Lara, protesters turning to social media as communications break down.
That's right. That's been a big part of this all the way through. The initial protests more than a week ago were organized via Facebook and Twitter. We saw people turn out en masse. After that, the internet was cut off for days. We interviewed a number of protest organizers who told us they had to go back to doing things the old-fashioned way, through word of mouth, phone calls, and flyers that we saw printed and handed out in the streets. Now, yesterday, the internet was restored. We saw a surge in usage from Egypt. Facebook says it has a record number of users now from Egypt using this as a way to get their message, get their images out to the world. Another key part of this, Mariam, a lot of the deal around Twitter and how much of a role it plays here. One thing it's very good for is gauging regional opinion, taking the temperature. We see voices from Saudi Arabia to Morocco expressing their sympathy and solidarity with the people here in Tahrir Square, and says that this is galvanizing a region of young, angry people who want to see a lot of change from their government.
And Lara, we're just looking here at pictures from yesterday, actually, as we saw pictures from yesterday with pro-Mubarak demonstrators riding into the crowds, throwing rocks, riding in on camels and horses, throwing machetes. What can we expect to happen today, and what is happening now as the numbers grow in Tahrir Square?
Mariam, what we're seeing behind me is a mix of protest and urban warfare. It's a dangerous mix, and it's now in its second day. And what we sense as we speak to people here in Egypt is that it's really forcing a wedge between the two sides of the political equation here in Egypt. Earlier this week, we had seen Mubarak's new vice president, Omar Suleiman, reach out to the opposition, make an effort to try to reconcile, find common ground. Now, it's very hard to see how that goes forward. We heard from some analysts at Eurasia Group overnight. They see 2 scenarios here. One where the regime continues to crack down on protesters in various ways. There are more protests planned in the days ahead. They could get very bloody. Another where we just go into a period of long, messy, and protracted negotiation between the regime and the opposition, trying to find some way to move this country forward. Mariam?
Larissa Trakian staying across everything.